Guys, it is a big day for gaming, especially if you hate skill-based matchmaking. For the first time in gaming history, a major game developer has come out and said that the skill-based matchmaking on, say, Halo, Call of Duty, Gears of War is manipulative and so far beyond actual skill-based matchmaking, and I gotta say, it was so refreshing to hear because I was right. Now, I have covered skill-based matchmaking a lot on the channel. Max Hoberman, who created the original system for Halo 2, made comparisons between the old and the new systems, and he is an absolute legend for that. Today's video is different because we have a major player in the gaming space completely giving us a look behind the curtain at just how bad the new system is. Have you ever played Halo Infinite or Call of Duty and you feel like the game was absolutely unwinnable? Maybe you performed very well on your team, but your teammates just couldn't keep up. Then the next game comes along and it's completely different. It's like the system is gifting you a free win. Well, today, Mark Rubin, who's working on a little game called X Defiant, basically shared why his game is going to have a classic skill-based matchmaking system. And by that I mean it'll still balance the teams, but not the manipulative game practices everybody has gotten used to. This one's going to be juicy. Let's get into it. So Mark Rubin, who is the executive producer on X Defiant, sat down for a podcast the other day, and he spoke about in depth the difference between old and new skill-based matchmaking systems. He starts off by giving the general definition of what SBMM does and how it was in the past.
Okay, so skill-based matchmaking, also known as oftenly as SBMM, basically where the game decides that you have a certain skill level after it kind of watches you play for a few matches, and then matches you up with people who are equivalent on your skill level. In the olden days, it was pretty light and didn't really intrude too much into the game.
So as Mark said, first and foremost, back in the day, so early Call of Duty games, early Halo games, it wasn't strict at all. You could match virtually anyone, play with anybody, regardless of skill, and it wouldn't segregate players based on how good they are. Fast forward to 2017, and a brand new system is released on not only Call of Duty, but Halo and Gears of War.
It has become something that is more what they call actually engagement-based matchmaking now, where it sort of is like an AI that's monitoring your behavior and going, okay, this person's getting beaten too many times and we think they might quit, so we're going to make the game easier for them, and then you'll get a game where you win, and then it'll bring you back to the playing against the same people you were playing before.
And there you have it, engagement optimized matchmaking. If that doesn't sound manipulative, I don't know what does. Gaming now is a matchmaking algorithm that isn't based on fun, variety, and meeting new people. It's based on human psychology and how we can manipulate the player base to play as long as possible. It is literally why if you're having a bad session and then all of a sudden you get this amazing game, those other people in the lobby were having their scheduled loss and it was your turn to win, perform really well, and the cycle will begin anew. I've spoken about it a lot on the channel, but the hidden value that changes is called hidden MMR, hidden matchmaking rating. It changes game to game based on your overall performance, and the new system that is on every single game nowadays incentivizes players to try as hard as they possibly can, as literally that is how the system was designed.
And the thing with all that, besides the whole sort of morality of it, is that I think it creates a stale experience, right? Like you keep playing against the same exact people, not the same exact people specifically, but the same exact type of player.
Mark just summed it up perfectly. Variety is the spice of matchmaking. Max Hoberman, the CEO of Certain Affinity and original creator of Halo 2 skill-based matchmaking, purposely dumbed down, and he said this last year, the matchmaking algorithm, because he found if players have a variety of matchmaking experiences, one game they destroy, one game they get destroyed, when they eventually get that close match, they try even harder. When every single game is a sweatfest, 1, you're exhausted. 2, even if you perform well, if it's your turn to lose, your scheduled loss, you are literally going to get worse teammates to try and force that loss. And I have read so many comments when I've covered this before, you guys yourselves have said it feels artificial.
You lose out on all the fun variety that I think a lot of the old school shooters had. Like you jump into a match and you can see a guy in there who's just wrecking, right? And he is just absolutely destroying, and you're kind of having fun with it because he's just so good, or she, and then you get into another game where you're the person who's wrecking, right? Like, and that experience, that variety is really what I think is missing in a lot of some of the modern arcade shooters, and I think it's something that we really feel is important to bring back to first-person shooters.
I'm a Halo player, and I'm honestly tempted to try out X Defiant that's coming out in a couple days just to see the big difference between the two matchmaking systems, because the way the current one works on all of the AAA developed games, the team that wins is the one that exceeds expectations of what the skill-based matchmaking algorithm predicted. On Halo Waypoint, you can check what the system actually predicted for you. Shout out to Serasia for the image. Look how closely it predicted his performance. It is almost scarily accurate, and even if you do exceed those expectations, the game is going to continually expect you to play better until it's unrealistic. And what happens when it becomes unrealistic? You get your forced loss. Now, the original creators on paper said this is a much more accurate system, and sure, on paper it does. But it's at the cost of the soul of the game. The community is a powerful thing, and I feel like gaming today is the most antisocial it has ever been. Thankfully, the good news is everyone is realizing just how bad it is, and so many people are asking game developers today to please re-implement these features. It is absolutely wild to me that in an unranked playlist, certain players, and I've seen it myself when I look at streamers, they can only match probably 0.1% of the player base, and even if they match a broader audience, they consistently get the worst players in the lobby to try and dilute their skill level. If you have a pro player, one of the best in the world, with a lower win rate than the median average player, something is definitely wrong there, and it really needs to change. So there you have it, a look behind the curtain of modern day skill-based matchmaking systems. It's the first time outside of Max Hoveman we've seen a major developer talk about this, and I'm sure as it becomes more widely known and people become more aware about it, things will change over time. In any case, let me know what you think down in the comments below. What do you think of modern day matchmaking systems? If you're curious about modern day matchmaking systems, I did a video that's a deep dive into the system itself, all the intricacies, all the manipulations, all the psychology behind it. So if you're interested in that, I'll put it in the end screen as the linked video. I want it to be more social. I want people to be able to make friends easily, and I think variety is the way to go. So thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.